podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and with me to review Liverpool going back to the top of the Premier League. There's no Dr. Barts this week, but I do have Hamzah. Evening, Hamzah.
Hi, Darth. You right? Top of the league again?
Top of the league. Top of the league. It's all good, mate. And fresh from the Derby ladies three-peat, it's Mr. Simon Brundish. Evening, Si.
Evening, boys. Yeah, fun times. I enjoy winning. Mostly I don't even take any notice of results, but I enjoy it at the end of the season when we actually have a trophy to
You're a
lift.
performances guy, aren't you? Not a results guy.
Yeah.
And not only a three-peat in terms of winning your league, but undefeated for 3 seasons.
Undefeated for 3 seasons. How absurd is that?
I know. Surely this is the time that the ladies' professional tier after the Women's Super League is going to be reformed. Surely this is the trigger point, Si, right? Or maybe not.
We're actually trying to get a game. They stop now, and it's split between North and South, and we're trying to get a championship game against the South team just for a bit of fun, and then we can complain. But no, it's boring. What can you do? We're pretty much resigning from the competition after this season, so I'll have a lot more for spare time.
No, well, and I had to give out the important message for the AnfieldIndex.com. If you are listening to this on the free side, you will lose after half an hour of the show, and then you'll have to want to listen to the rest of us. You'll have to sign up at AnfieldIndex.com. But otherwise, we're going to get straight into Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. And Si, this was a pretty remarkable game of football. I mean, I've seen matches played in one half of the pitch because it's been attack against defence for 90 minutes. I'm not sure I've ever seen a match played on one side of the pitch for 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's better when it's our good side of the pitch, isn't it? We've played on the wrong side of the pitch times this season, so I'm happy for them to allow us possession down the side that we're going to kill them on.
Yeah,
there was a little bit Eddie Howe to me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy game, wasn't it? Tactically,
it was really interesting. Yeah. A lot of crazy little things going on, but I think their man marking system against ours incredibly athletic bunch of lads at some point something was going to give.
Yeah. Hamzah, it was a little bit like the return fixture. That was a bit crazy with the tactics as well, if I remember rightly, the 2-2.
Yeah, I remember that one. I think there was an opportunity for us to turn it 3-1 as well, and we spurned it. I can't remember.
Gravenberch hit the bar.
That was it. Yeah, the square pass.
Yeah.
But just over this season and last season, the matches with Brighton have been some of the most entertaining ones that we've had. These and the City matches, and I guess the Arsenal ones as well, generally are the sort of ones where you have to, where you're watching an interesting sort of tactical battle take place. De Zerbi's quite an interesting coach, and the way that his teams play is really cool. And like us, have had loads of injuries as well. So this could have been a very different match with all the players back for both teams. But yeah, it was a pretty entertaining affair, as was the one you just mentioned.
Yeah, it was. I think it's they're a bit of a unique proposition, aren't they? Really, Hamzah, Brighton, the way they go about it. I mean, they do. I guess the good news is for the rest of the league is they don't have as many good players as they did last season, primarily because their best player now plays for us. But yeah, but they really do pose questions, even with all these injuries and stuff. They just constantly try things, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you discussed before about how their style is sort of the antithesis or the ideological response to pressing, about
Absolutely.
drawing an opponent onto them and then creating sort of transitions to play through them. And the shame for Brighton recently is that one of their best players in transition, Mitoma, is injured.
Well, Solly March as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they have I mean, Ansu Fati was on the bench, but
Yeah.
they've got a few other players as well. Yeah, Pedro is playing really well and was at Watford before and didn't quite impress, but for a long time has been sort of tipped from the data perspective at least, as a good player. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that the way that they play, is suited to pressing teams, but the profile of players that suit that specifically, a few of them are out, but that they've been able to cope with that and still play in the same way and still have players. There's Lewis Dunk is a good all-round player, but as in he's not very mobile, he's not very quick, and he's been asked to play like a proper modern footballer, centre back, and move forward. And you see how Moda is playing as well, moving up. These sort of demands aren't sort of typical. So yeah, they challenge you in different ways, and it's really, really fun to watch.
So stay there and just give us those lineups. Give us Brighton as well, Hamzah, and then we'll go on to the numbers.
Liverpool were at home, so I'll just run through them first. Kelleher still in goal with Alisson injured. Gomez at left back. This was Robertson picked up his injury with Scotland towards the end of the second match. I can't remember who it was against, but it was an ankle knock. So yeah,
Northern Ireland.
Thank you. Oh yeah, sorry, because Conor Bradley scored. But yeah, Van Dijk and Quansah played with him, and Bradley was on the right, and Bradley had a more sort of conventional attacking role, sort of keeping width, occasionally moving infield and swapping with Salah, but pretty sort of conventional, what you'd expect to see a few years ago from Liverpool. Gomez, however, was coming inside infield, as he has been doing the past few matches, and I think that is probably, whichever side does invert, I think that the reason Gomez does rather than Bradley is because of their profile. So Gomez is stronger, more robust in the tackle, better in the air. Bradley is quicker around the outside, able to break into the box, has a shot. So it just makes more sense for Bradley to be on the outside and Gomez to be on the inside to protect against a counter. In midfield, Szoboszlai, Endo, Mac Allister. A slight tweak here because Mac Allister was largely playing on the right, Szoboszlai on the left, and then Diaz, Nunez, Salah front three. But yeah, it was interesting how they worked in practice. Mac Allister was playing a bit higher than he was a few months ago. Diaz moved over a bit, and Nunez wasn't as involved as much, and Salah also sort of played like a 10 for a bit. We'll get into that later. But yeah, to come to the Brighton team, De Zerbi swaps keepers around a bit, but Verbruggen seems to be his favourite this season. He spoke about him quite highly earlier this season, saying that he could be one of the best in Europe, but I don't know. I think he does say that about a lot of his players. I think he likes to pick them up. Then Veltman, Van Hacker, Duncan, Estepinian at the back. Baleba, who's really, I've been quite impressed with him, given that he's
very young.
With taking the Caicedo role. But yeah, I think he's really quite good. Gross, and with him, alongside him, Moda joined Welbeck in pressing up top, and either side of them were Lamptey and Adingra. So Lamptey, some people may have been surprised to know if they haven't watched Brighton much this season, but sometimes he plays a bit further forward. And Adingra on the left, who is very good.
But Lamptey and Estepinian, two players, have been wrecked by injuries as well, so they've not long been back in the team either. So yeah, so thank you, Hamzah. Si, and pretty much from the get go, we were on the back foot.
Very quickly we went behind, didn't we? We actually were front foot and then got a transition done. Mo tried to slot the ball in. We can talk about giving the ball away, but the point is you get into positions whereby you can take a risk into playing the ball into the box because you're already set behind. The problem wasn't Mo making a risky pass. The problem was that we weren't set. And it's the things that used to catch us out all the time. And the reason why we play the inverted the inverted fullback now is to create the cul-de-sac just in case the ball pops back out. And then you've got those players to prevent the counter. And we really didn't do that very well. We weren't set very well at all. One wall pass and they were in our half, transitioning rapidly. Adingra, he kind of gave us a ride in the first game, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he was in Union Saint-Gilloise last season, and I think he got something ridiculous like 28 goals and assists. Yeah. And he's just a good player. He's really rapid as well. Good carrier, good dribbler. It was an unlucky goal to concede because there was 2 deflections in there. But I mean,
the thing is that we go to what we'll see later is that one of our tactics was to double up out wide. So Bradley and Mo have just one and one. They're in zone 15, zone 14, however you guys draw it up. I don't know. So one's on the outside and one's in the half space, making those passes. And the thing is that there was no one to shut the door behind. So they broke around, and Adingra had no one to basically get past. There was Mac kind of covering that side, and Endo was kind of
not there, and then
he was actually marking Welbeck, and then he left it. So he was the problem, really, when it transitioned. Is that thing that he lets lads run past him, but where we usually have been safe is that we have Konate, who this is his wheelhouse. Yeah. This is where he wants to play.
Covering a large region, acreage.
As a massive, gigantic unit. So the lad running next to him still has an extra 3 meters to get around him to get ahead. And Quansah, though he's not slow at all by any stretch of the imagination, he just doesn't cover the ground in any way remotely like Konate does, and that's not his fault. It's just we play high risk defense, and this is the consequence. We go behind again. Can I just point out there was an absolutely brilliant effort from Zobo, who was 10 meters deeper, maybe 15 meters deeper than Welbeck, and by the time they got to the edge of the box, he nipped in front of him to cut out the pass to him, and he got it. And it just happened to spin off to Mo. Yeah,
it was like Zobo deflected it. Zobo won the tackle, then it deflected again, I think, off verge, and then Welbeck just blammed it in.
Yeah. And it was a good finish. You can't deny it was a good finish.
No,
Couldn't know anything about it. It was 0.8 finish. Great.
So, absolutely. Talk to me about Szoboszlai, because again, at the game against Old Trafford, he must have made that same run about 5 or 6 times against either Garnacho or Rashford to get back and cover. And he was pretty much the only one doing it for us then. He played as a pressing 10 in this match, primarily. And the temptation might have been there to move Zobo to where Brighton were attacking to cover that space, but we didn't do it. What did you make of Zobo's role in the game?
It's all interlinked. So we have to get the ball, we have to cover spaces and get the ball into the box and have third man runners.
Yeah.
All over the pitch. And it's all about timing. And given that we had totally freed Conor Bradley up down the right-hand side, you don't need inside-out runs from Zobo, because they would just be running into Bradley's space and Mo's space. So they moved them to the far side. You've facilitated rebound passes and the control from Mac on his side, so those three, Mo, Conor Bradley and Mac, can interchange there. So Mac can come receive the ball deep and be the progressor at the runners. And Zobo could do the running with Diaz on the opposite side, and Joe Gomez could tuck in and be the possession control in the middle.
Yeah,
it's just think you can't have them. All
I appreciate that, and I appreciate people would have been standing on each other's toes and stuff. But on the defensive side of the ball, you think Szoboszlai would have pretty much shut down Adingra for the whole half, you wouldn't have got any joy out of it. But that's the decision you've got to make, isn't it? The trade-offs.
I think if Trent had been playing, that's what he'd have been doing.
Okay.
It's just the function of utilising Conor Bradley's strengths. And given that he had the most touches in the box in this game that any fullback has ever had for Liverpool since we've been counting. So
that again.
Touches in the box.
Conor Bradley had the most touches in the box of any fullback.
Like any fullback ever to play for Liverpool in the Premier League.
Wow. What was that number?
11.
Wow. Holy moly.
11 touches in the box for Mane would be amazing.
For Conor Bradley, yeah.
Conor Bradley. The most we ever had before was 7 with Robbo.
Wow.
Trent's peak 6.
Wow. No, there's a stat. Hamzah. So we go behind again. The first half was fun. It was also frustrating for various reasons. How did you see us trying to going about getting back into this match?
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Well, it's a bit difficult to sort of discern whether the plan changed after the goal compared to before the goal, because there's only 3 minutes played, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, before the goal, there was a box that formed between Mac and Endo, Mo and Szoboszlai, so Mo was playing like a 10. And that was literally seconds before the goal that Si described. However, after the goal, immediately afterwards, you see Endo drop between the centre-backs and Gomez come in field, and he forms that box. So I think that was a general plan for Endo to drop a bit deeper to help drag Welbeck or Moda out of position to then enable the pass into midfield. So then Mac Allister could receive and play out. But yeah, I think that the problems emerged in the first half in a similar way to the goal itself. So just forcing passes when the team wasn't ready to counter press. There's a Dingler chance, I think, in the 8th minute, 7 minutes 20, where he crossed across.
It's a dangerous ball in, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. And I think that was from End on the left side, trying to pass into centre midfield, and then Brighton quickly moved across to our right wing, so that they just attacked the space that was open. There were a few different things that we tried. So Szoboszlai moved deeper at times. We had this 3-2 shape in build-up. So when Brighton's front 2 press, we'd have the spare man. Well, technically, we'd always have a spare man because the goalkeeper was there as well, so it'd be a 4v2. And we'd use those moments to try and play into around their block. They were very content for us to receive outside the block, but the advantage that Liverpool had was that Mac Allister is both comfortable receiving outside the block and also inside the block. So he would often move outside and then move infield to receive and then play through. It's not too easy to see what changed specifically because we only had around sort of 3 minutes, and a lot of the stuff was full pitch stuff, which you can't see on the TV, unfortunately. I mean, like when you see Van Dijk pressing up later, From what I imagine, because I've seen Brighton play quite a bit, what they often do is they really load their own area when they're building up from the goalkeeper, and they'll leave maybe 3 or 4 players up top. And I think they left 3 in this occasion. And then what they use Moda to drop deep into midfield. So when that happens, what happens is you've got loads of players in the defensive third, and you've got maybe a 4-on-3 for the defending team around halfway, and you've got a big gap in the middle. And what Brighton, and usually when you defend like that, you've got a spare man. You've got that 4v3. You'll have your centre back who's there to cover in case one of the other players misses their tackle or needs some support. That means the other team will also have a spare man, and that was Moda. And they use Moda to come into that gap between that big block of people on the defensive side and on halfway to try and receive and spark transitions. And Liverpool's response was to go completely man-to-man in those moments and use Van Dijk to press up on Moda. A few different things, but I can't say...
What did you think generally about how well the Gomez inverting worked on the ball in our build-up? Because we were behind, and you can see why he's coming in for the transitions on the defensive side. But how well did you think it helped us in build-up?
Well, I think most of the time he was generally receiving outside of the block, so it's not helping too much. But as in, I don't think anyone would ever expect him to receive and turn inside the block as like, for example, like a Rodri would or someone like that. I mean, no. But that's why it was okay that Mac Allister was doing that. As in, and Endo as well isn't typically a player that will receive inside the block and spin out and take a ball on the half turn and out of pressure. But that's fine as long as you've got Mac Allister or Salah who's dropping deep, as he often did, or Szoboszlai, as he did it in moments as well. Szoboszlai tended to actually come super deep and then have the play in front of him. But yeah, Gomez didn't offer too much in those situations, but I don't think that's a massive problem.
Do you think it was by design that the non-use of the left side, so Gomez inverting, Diaz was basically just hugging the touchline to no grip, and then Szoboszlai primarily as a pressing 10 with Núñez, yeah? So Núñez often moved over into the half space. Salah dropped to a bit and rotated. There were some like really nice coordinated runs where he sort of synchronise his run, he'd go deep and Bradley would go in behind or stuff like that. But yeah, because of the natural width of Bradley, it made more sense to attack that side. And because Gomez is inverting, and if he was playing wide anyway, because he's right-footed, he'd come inside anyway. I think it was by design, but also sort of matched the sort of natural inclination of the players as well. Si, I mean, one coincidence of all this jiggery-pokery was that we witnessed one of the greatest midfield displays that probably I can ever recall at Anfield.
But Mac Allister's just that good.
Yeah. He was that good.
He's just that good. Statistically, didn't do anything. But I think he is getting to, he's not quite, and I don't think he ever can be, but he's getting to play in the same orchestra that Thiago does. Like, he can never be the level of musician that Thiago is, because there's probably, I would go like, there's been 5 players ever in history that have the mastery of a football that Thiago has. But that's like ethereal compared to actual footballers. And Mac is right at the top of the technical quality of an actual footballer. He's just under total control at all times. It's phenomenal.
So can we just, you said statistically, Matt, I know we talk about the intangible stuff there, but 5 key passes, 0.5 expected assists, 9 passes into the penalty area. That's just an outrageous number. And 18 progressive passes, also an outrageous number.
Yeah, the progressive passes are probably the biggest thing. The 9 passes into the box, like Mo's had 8 this season. It's not. Trent's had 9. Trent's had 11 at one point. That from a midfielder for us, that is fairly unique.
Yeah. But it was pretty apparent that literally everything was going through him.
Well, if you think that to add a layer onto what Hamzah was saying about us tactically, I think they wanted to play down their left-hand side because that's where their best player is. They either play at Ingram or they've got a fast fullback playing right wing. So
yeah, Estepinian is one of their best players as well. Yeah, and Gross.
Yeah, so they've got Estepinian and Adingra down the left hand side, and Pascal Gross, or you don't down the right hand side. So that's the thing. But they, without possession, what they did was they created this big vortex for us to have the ball in our right centre back zone. They just allowed Quansah to have the ball. It played out like this: Virgil van Dijk, 57 touches. Quansah, 126.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. We've never seen that level of bias.
I think it's fair to say Moda was really closing him off, wasn't he? At an option. And even when Ender was dropping in between them to try and give a little bit more of a passing angle to Quansah. I mean, Virgil was not an option to receive the ball, was he? Because of Moda most of the time, and Welbeck some of the time.
He was they were just man marking, yeah. And if you man mark, that means there's one player left, and they were just allowing Quansah the ball. Go, what can you do? At one point, he went on a Matip type dribble, but they're right to. If you're going to do that, he's the right player because he's the least talented player we have. So it kind of makes sense. Pick your poison. Do you want, if you're Brighton like to defend in a compact one side of the compact space, and if they can, they want to isolate one side of the pitch because it's really hard to break through 10 players on half a pitch. And the way to beat that is to play switches to the opposite side. So the reason Diaz didn't get the ball was because they funnel you down the right-hand side instead of giving Virgil the ball, who can play a switch. Quansah's played 3 switches all season.
Yeah. So there's no Trent in the team. So there's no Trent in the team, and Virgil's being man-marked, so he can't switch it. And I think the first time all match when Virgil can switch it is our go-ahead goal.
So we changed stuff at half-time, which got Virgil close to the middle of the pitch. And we moved Gomez out of the middle of the pitch, which it made somebody had to go. If they're man-marking, somebody has to go with him.
Yeah.
Which leaves a little bit more space, and then Virgil can get on the ball a little bit more. But have we got to do the goal?
Yeah, we're going to do the goal, but we just want to talk a bit about Mac Allister and Salah, if we can. One thing we always used to say was that this team needs to facilitate 2 players. It needs Trent and Mo Salah, and he ends up taking 12 shots, which is just a flabbergasting number. Most in the Premier League match since Zlatan did it in the goalless draw, I think it was, against Burnley in 2016.
Darwin had 11 this season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but 12 shots. But some of the link-up play between Mac Allister and Salah was otherworldly, wasn't it? Si?
Really was, and also it's if you could set up a formation that had our 2 best midfielders interchange passes more than anybody else on the pitch. And then the next highest volume of passes is Mac Allister to Salah. You're going to win the league. That is it. That's the goal. Yeah. That's what you want. How many games have we had this season?
Was that the number one? Was that the number one passing?
The centre back.
Was that number one? Was our number one pass combo Mac Allister to Szoboszlai?
No, the other way around.
Szoboszlai to Mac Allister. Wow, fair enough. Yeah. So the pass which she chipped in for Mo to volley over, that was just an unbelievable move. If that had been that would have been an outrageous goal.
He made two absolutely outrageous passes, but I just wanted to go quickly on the Mo shot volume. I just for listeners that don't know, I didn't watch the game because it was pitch side what we were playing, winning the league at the time. And
the three-peat.
The three-peat. So I watched it all today, the whole game today, obviously knowing the result, but also having collated all of the data. So I was going in expecting one thing to happen and didn't see it. And then also I saw some criticism of Mo. I saw this massive shot volume of Mo. And I'd seen little bits out of the corner of my eye on the iPad of different shots. And like and I saw he had 3 big chances, and I was like, and his shooting wasn't very good. And I saw the one where he was kind of put through, but he still had 3 players ahead of him, where he was running through the middle of the goal, through the middle of the pitch, and then he was lining up a switch to the near post, and it ended up being a back pass. And like that was, I was thinking, is his whole finishing this in this whole game? Is this a total Mo disaster? Bear in mind, this is his first start since New Year's Day. And then watching the actual 12 shots, his 3 big chances, only one of them was an actual big chance.
Well, one was a header which he couldn't reach.
He literally couldn't reach it. It's absurd that's a big chance.
Yeah, no, that was a bit of a mistake in my view. And the other one was at the end when the keeper makes an outrageously good save to deny him the second goal.
Yeah.
Which he
added shot value to.
Yeah.
But one of those shots was the brilliant volley, the brilliant pass from Mac that would have needed one of the all-time great goals. If he followed that in with the outside of his foot, that would have been one of the all-time great goals. That would have been Van Basten.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I wasn't going to approach this at all from a bashing Salah perspective, because I thought he was absolutely fine. I was just remarking more on the ability, the link up between Mac Allister to Salah was that's probably the best I've seen it actually all season.
He's close to him.
Yeah,
they're playing one zone apart the whole time. So really smart players. They find each other. It's one of the things that I've talked about since I was a kid, but you kind of see it when you're on training ground. Is that how often do you hear that when I remember hearing it for the first time when we assembled the Barnes, Beardsley and Aldridge team on the big match, and it's like these two look like they've played with each other forever, and that kind of thing. 2 new players, they instantly gel. No, they don't. They just do the right thing. They both know what the right thing is. That's all. They aren't gelling. There is a right or wrong on a football pitch, and they're both making the right decision quickly. And it looks like they know each other's game, but actually they've assessed the situation and just made the appropriate decision, and they find each other quickly. And you get 2 brilliant players. Thiago and Mo are like it, but further apart. Trent and Mo, they're on the same wavelength. It's not true. They're just doing the right thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about our equaliser. We conceded an unlucky opener, and then we cancelled that out by getting a lucky equaliser. I see it.
It was a little bit lucky. I want to give. I don't think we ever particularly bashed Diaz, but he was brilliant for this. He has been brilliant since Mo went away, since Mo's injury. And I thought the ball, Brighton set up badly questionably from a corner and left nobody out for a second ball anyway. And which left 2 of our players on the edge of the box. So we got Bradley and Mo, if the ball bounced out, that probably had 5 meters of space. So that gives you a second of time for them. Mo did a really thoughtful thing in that he was aware of who was ahead, and he was nodding the ball into space while he was under duress of an aerial duel. And at the same time, Diaz acted like a killer instead of a street baller. He was already on the run, made a really good run to the near post, and finished it brilliantly.
Yeah.
We did need a couple of little deflections that went our way. So that kind of cancelled out that double.
And just to be clear, it was the Veltman intervention that meant it was onside, yeah?
No, because when Mo headed the ball, Diaz was well onside.
Yeah. But when
only if Virgil had touched the ball, then it would have been offside.
But what I mean is when Veltman diverted it, Diaz was offside, but because it came off the Brighton player, it was onside, yeah?
Yeah. I suppose, but like there was no Liverpool player ever to have touched it, so it could never have been. But if it had have been a Liverpool player, not a Brighton player, it would have been offside. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
Sports Social Podcast Network.